Hi, welcome all. So today's topic is due date alert for all the IFSC entities, that is regulated entities. This is most important point as the due date is very near, that is 30th April 2026. So be in the video until the end. One more thing, I have prepared a detailed video on CSCRF, that is Cybersecurity and Cyber Resilience Framework Compliances Due Date, in very detailed video which covers all the compliances, their due dates, and the things which you should keep in mind. Please note that this CSCRF guidelines are applicable to all the regulated entities, even though you are covered in the exempted category. Then also there are few compliances which you have to mandatory cover. I have mentioned the link in the description box, or you can check from my channel as well. So let's start. Uh, so this video is particularly for the due date alert for the fees payment, that is recurring fees payment by every regulated entity. The due date is 30th April 2026 for the financial year 26-27. So these fees are paid on the advance basis. So in this video, I'll cover the applicability part, type of fees payment, then the due date alerts, then newly incorporated entity, in case the entity is newly incorporated, say in the financial year 26-27, then how to calculate fees, for what period the fees should be paid, and what will be the due date. Next, penalty, if the due date is missed and the fees are not paid, then what will be the penalty. Then how to make payment of the fees. Most important thing which you must have to complete post payment of the fees. I will cover that part in the later stage of the video. Then the definition of the turnover and the reference part. I'll also cover the fees payment required on the various type of entities. So I'll give the brief idea about the applicable fees basis on the type of the entities. And the last point, post payment of the fees, what should be the compliances, how to make the submission, and to whom to mark the email. So be in the video until the end. One more thing, if you haven't subscribed my channel yet, please subscribe it and click on the bell icon button so that you don't miss any important video. So let's start. So as I have mentioned, the fee structure circular issued by the IFSC authority dated March 2nd 2026, which is applicable to all the regulated entities, and it comes into effect from the financial year 26-27. The fees are paid on the advance basis for the financial year 26-27. So these fees are the recurring fees. There are two types of this recurring fees, one flat and second conditional. So basis on the applicability, you have to make the payment of this fees. The due date is 30th April. So it become due from the 1st April 2026. And the last date for the payment of fees is 30th April 2026 for the financial year 26-27. Okay, CSCRF guidelines, that is Cybersecurity and Cyber Resilience Framework, I have already mentioned in the initial part of the video, and I have also prepared the video on the same. So you can check from the description box. So its due date is also due for the doing the compliance. So I have mentioned here this point. Next due date, which I have already mentioned, the fees payment is due from the 1st April 2026, and last date from the for the payment of fees is 30th April 2026. Now, what will be the compliance or the for the fees payment in case the newly incorporated entity? For example, if any entity is set up, or say it granted the license on a date like 20th June 2026. In that case, if the flat payment of recurring fees is applicable, then you have to make payment of that fees within a period of 15 days from the date of grant of your license. And here the fees payment will be on the pro rata basis, that is for the remaining period of your financial year. For example, the date of grant of license is 20th June 2026. Then you have to make payment within 15 days from the 20th June 2026, and the fees payment will be for the period of 10 months including the June month. as the any part of the month is calculated for the entire month for the calculation of the fees. That so you have to make payment for the 10 months within 15 days from the date of grant of license. Okay, this was about the flat. For the conditional also, you have to make payment of the first installment within a period of 15 days from the date of grant of license. So it depends upon the turnover. So basis on the turnover, you have to consider the lowest turnover limit, and basis on that, you have to make payment of the fees as the first installment. And on the later part, basis on the actual turnover, you have to make payment for the remaining fees amount by the 30th April of the next financial year. Now, this was about the newly incorporated entities. Now coming to the existing entities. So the due date is for the flat recurring fees payment is 30th April, and for the conditional, if it is applicable, you have to make payment by 30th April for basis on the depending on the turnover of the preceding financial year, that is basis on the 25-26 financial year turnover, and basis on the limit which is already mentioned in the table of the schedule 1, whatever amount of the turnover covering in the limits part, you have to make the payment basis on that fees. Okay, here the turnover is calculated as the aggregate value of the transactions. So the total value of the transaction is considered as your turnover. You have to check your turnover amount in the table which is mentioned in the schedule 1, and basis on that you have to make the payment of your fees for the recurring conditional fees. Okay, so this was about the existing entities. Now coming to next the penalty part. If you fail to make payment of the fees, either recurring or conditional as and when applicable, by 30th April 2026, you have to make payment of interest as a penalty. So it will be calculated 0.75% per month basis until the default is made on the fees which is due. Okay, most important thing to do post payment of fees I'll cover in the latter part of video. Turnover we have already spoken about it. Okay, how to make payment? So for that is that the process is or the amount accounts in which the payment has to be made is already mentioned in the paragraph 13 of the state circular, and the amount must be paid in US dollar only. This can be paid from the regulated entity account, or in case it is not paid from the regulated entity and its payment is made from the director or the KMP of the regulated entity, you have to mention that clearly that the fees payment is made from the director or the KMP account. Okay, so the account details are already mentioned in the state circular. You can check the details from that. Now coming about the brief idea about the fees payment applicable. For the PSP, that is payment from service provider, only flat recurring fees are applicable, which is 5,000 USD annually, and conditional recurring is not applicable. For the finance company, again flat fees are applicable depending upon the activity of the finance company, like aircraft leasing or ship leasing or core finance activity. So the fees are basis on the activity of the finance company. Conditional is not applicable. For the IBU, that is international banking unit, flat fees are not applicable. Conditional depends upon the turnover of that IBU. So you have to check the turnover of the preceding financial year. For this financial year, you have to check the turnover of financial year 25-26, and basis on that you have to make payment of the advance fees of this conditional recurring fees by 30th April 2026. This is for the IBU. For the fund management entity, for the authorized FME as well as registered FME, whether retail, non-retail, the flat fees is only applicable, which is annually 3,000 US dollar, and the conditional it is not applicable. For the scheme like AIF category 1, 2, 3, it is flat fees applicability 1,000 per scheme annually, and conditional not applicable. For the stock exchange, both are applicable, flat and conditional. Flat fees are 1,000 US dollar annually, and conditional depend upon the turnover of the stock exchange. Clearing corporation, again flat fees is applicable, conditional is not applicable, which is 1,000 US dollar. CMI, that is capital market intermediaries, which covers broker, dealer, investment advisor, clearing, then depository participant, etc. Flat fees are applicable depending upon the type of the category like broker, dealer, investment advisor, etc. Conditional is not applicable. Okay. So this was about brief idea about the fees applicability. Now talking about the most important part which you should not miss post payment of fees, that is you have to make an intimation about the fees payment to the authority. So the format for that intimation is prescribed in the schedule 2 of the state circular. You have to fill the details accordingly and it should be signed by the authorized signature of that regulatory entity, either physical sign or the digital signature. And you have to submit this in the soft copy via email. So email should be made to the division of the fund management entity and copy, that is CC mark, to the this mail ID, finance mail ID, that is finance@ifsc.gov.in. So this is most important. Post payment of fees, you have to make an intimation to the authority in that prescribed format which are provided in the schedule 2 of the circular. So I have mentioned the link for the circular in the description box as a reference. You can check from there. If you have find this video helpful, please like and share with your friends. Stay connected for more videos. Bye.